Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Coyne, founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring, where we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. The Nutrition Business live workshop was originally scheduled for June 5th, and it was moved to September due to COVID. Unfortunately, due to regulations, we are unable to host the live event in Chicago in September. But we have an even better option in store. On Friday, July 10th, so in less than a month, HSN Mentoring is hosting a one-day virtual event. This event will consist of presentations, application, and breakout sessions led by the HSN Mentoring leadership team to apply the information. How many times have you listened to a webinar or attended a conference and have so much information given to you, but you aren't really sure how to apply it to your business? Or by the time you get back into your business, too much time has passed and you completely forget all of the things that you learned during that conference. Well, in this Nutrition Business virtual workshop, you will walk away with a clear, actionable plan to help you build a successful nutrition program. There's an owner's track and a coach's track. The tickets are available for sale now. The pre-sale cost is $169 for one all-day event. The price will increase on July 1st, so you make sure and buy your ticket today. Today's guest on the podcast is someone who specializes in branding, Patrick Cummings. One of the most interesting topics we discussed was 4 legs to your business. He brought up one leg that I didn't really think was a leg in your business. Most people don't, but is often overlooked. And really, he explained why it was vital, and it made so much sense. When I think about the most successful entrepreneurs, they make this a priority, even if they don't think of it as a leg in your business. I hope you enjoy. Patrick Cummings, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for taking the time. I know things are crazy right now. Thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to us about branding today.
Yes. Sort of important these days.
Minor detail.
Minor detail. I think unfortunately people are realizing that when they had one of the things, not to dive right into this, but one of the reasons I kind of started functional branding, especially as it relates to gyms, is because I think a lot of gyms don't think that they either need to or already are branding, and I think that that's a mistake. And I think that unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know. I think people are recognizing that it's actually an important part of what they do.
I think more gyms have realized that over the past few months that you have to brand yourself as a business and not just fly a flag and expect them to do the branding for you.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially not even that expect somebody else to do the branding for you, because to some degree, if we're talking about a CrossFit affiliate, like you do expect them to do some amount of branding for you. But what the mistake is not to recognize that's not differentiation enough anymore. It used to be, but it's just not anymore. And so you've got to figure out, okay, I'm in the bubble of CrossFit. Where do I exist inside of that? It's not enough to just be under the umbrella of CrossFit. You've then got to do the hard work of figuring out what am I in this, under this umbrella? Am I this? Am I that? Am I not this? Am I not that? And those are decisions that everybody should be making. And for a long time, I think a lot of affiliates anyways, a lot of gyms felt like they didn't have to. And the times we're living in, I think they're realizing that that's not true.
Well, I think we all got into this space because we want to help people, right? And we love CrossFit. We're diehards, right? We're super passionate about it. We believe in the methodology, and many people do not have a business background or feel like they need to invest time into figuring out what that looks like for their business. And but prior to starting our recording, that was a big that's a big struggle for so many gym owners, and I think that's why so many fail and struggle.
Yeah. Yep. I think so too. I mean, I think there are really I think there are 4 legs to the stool of a really good affiliate, and this is something that I've seen done really well. And the 4 legs are. And obviously this is just kind of my take on it. So obviously it's kind of pointed towards the things I think are more important, but one of them is branding and understanding of what that is. The other is finances, understanding how to run the business effectively. I know John Briggs is somebody and I think he's doing some really interesting things in the space, and I think it's really important. I think the third leg is I don't know what to call it. I'll call it operations, which I would include like coaching, getting better coaches, class management, customer service, like all the things that I think a lot of affiliates are doing pretty damn well. And then the fourth is kind of specific to gyms, CrossFit affiliates, but really kind of specific to even like what you do or what I do, small businesses in general, which is the fourth leg is the individual at the heart of it, continuing their own education as it relates to all the other three. Because without a really strong leader at the center of a small brand, a small business, whatever that business is, you don't actually make the progress in the other three legs. Not that that makes any sense when you actually think about it as metaphor, but go with me. If you can't strengthen the other three legs, if you're not able to strengthen yourself so that you can strengthen the other three, eventually you fall over. And I think that for a long time, if we're thinking about CrossFit affiliates, they've put a lot of effort in the operations. They've done the bare minimum of branding. They've done the bare minimum of the financial end of it. And some of them have done really well with the personal development, betterment, continuing education stuff. Like that's my really broad general take on what I've seen in the CrossFit affiliate community. And I think that if it's going to go forward and continue to succeed and continue to grow, the individual at the heart of every one of those brands has to dedicate themselves to those other three so that the entire thing gets better.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. I think we're not experts in the field, and especially like I work with John Briggs. He's our accountant. He's been our accountant for 5 years. Love everything that Inside Tax does. And I know that I hate finances. I hate that. I'll make money. That's great. But let me send it to someone and they tell me how much taxes I need to pay and what I can pay myself and what we can do with the rest. But if you don't love that piece, like you need to hire someone else to manage that piece for you so that you don't find yourself in a sticky situation. And John's, what he always says is gym owners deserve to make money. Like you're working really hard. And I think we all agree with that. We have such a passion for helping people. And I see so many gym owners struggling, and it's because they're working all the hours in the business and no hours on the business.
It's a classic challenge, and it's a challenge that I think everybody has to get themselves to. In other words, like I don't think when you open a gym, you can immediately start working on the business and not in it. There comes a point though where you have to sit down and say, okay, I have some amount of resources. And here's the tricky part, or here's the challenge, is because you go through that period where you're doing everything, right? By necessity, you kind of have to. And then you get to a point where you've done that relatively well and you start to make a little bit of money. And the challenge is that's the moment you have to then spend all of that extra, quote unquote, extra money on what you just said, on figuring out how do I find the person who can do the things that I can't do well, such that I have enough time to do the things that I do well even better.
Absolutely.
And that's the hard part, is because you work so hard and you invest so much of your life, your energy, your resources, and there's so much risk in those early days that you finally get to a point where you're seeing a little bit of light at the end of that tunnel. And that's when you have to go back to the beginning of the tunnel, and it has to go back to the dark place and back to the place where you're not sure if it's going to work and you're not sure what it's going to look like in 3 months. And for a lot of people who got into business because of passion, they don't want to face that's the part of business that is the lever to succeed. The passion part will get you so far, but then you have to start acting like an entrepreneur, like a business owner. But before you just had to act like somebody who loved what you were doing. And it's a hard transition for a lot of people, myself included. It's a hard transition to get to that place where you feel like, you don't feel like you're at the 100-yard, you're at the 10-yard line, but like you feel like you got to like the 50-yard line. Like, okay, like I got out of the hard part.
Yep.
You want to believe that that's what it's going to be like now. They're like, okay, I'm going to be able to kind of breathe now and we're okay. but you do that too long and you're stuck
Absolutely.
because you never evolved out of the I coach 6 classes a day and I respond to all the emails and I also have to post things on social media, and you can't do that and expect to grow in any way. You can only do that. If you do that, you can only tread water. It's just, that's the way it is. And so if you want to improve, if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, you need to recognize that you can't swim and tread water at the same time.
I think you also have to realize you cannot wear all the hats, right? And I think that,
100%.
that's one of the things that we focus on at HSN Mentoring and require gym owners to go through the training. You need to understand all the aspects of your business so you can accurately describe them to someone that's asking and you're the leader of your tribe, but you don't need to do the day-to-day operations for every single part of your business, and you can't.
Nope. And you shouldn't. And part of the reason why is that if you're the best coach in your gym, you're in trouble. Your job is to develop coaches. Your job is to develop coaches who are better than you so that you don't have to coach anymore, so that you can make better coaches. You can't make better coaches if you're doing all the coaching. And it's the same thing with your marketing. It's the same thing with your finances. You can't be the leader if you're also doing all of the labor, because somebody has to be out front. Somebody else has to say, this is where we're going. And the only way to do that is if you can give yourself enough space, time, energy, and resources to take a damn deep breath.
Yeah.
And say, where are we going? What are the mistakes that we've made? What are the mistakes that I'm not going to make again? What are the experiments we're going to run? Where are we going to be in 10 years? How do I work backwards from there to make sure that today we're making the right decisions to get there? If you're waking up at 4:30 and crashing into bed at 10:30 at night, you don't have the space and time and ability to ask yourself the most important questions, which is, where am I going and how am I going to get there? And what does that mean? Does that mean for what we're doing today? And
then applying
that's the difference between, and then applying it. Yes. And you need the people in place to help you apply it. And so if you're not willing, if you're not able to invest in other people, in other people's expertise, you're not gonna get where you want to get to, because you're only one person.
1,000%. And branding is a huge part of that. That's where your expertise is. And I know for us 2 years ago, I did exactly what you were talking about. Like, where are we missing the mark? What could we do better? How could we help gyms better talk about nutrition? And the marketing piece was the bridging the gap, which is the original reason why I asked you to come on this podcast. We were having a super interesting conversation about, you've got this problem of obesity and diabetes, and it's been exposed so much with COVID, right? And you've got people that are more motivated now than ever, and more gyms are opening up and realizing, like, people are coming in. They understand that they can't do it themselves anymore. They're ready for help. Like, you need to bridge the gap between this problem and your solution, right? And most gyms don't understand that they have CrossFit. That's a solution. But people don't understand how that's the solution, and they definitely don't understand how nutrition plays a part in that if you're a CrossFit affiliate.
Totally. Yeah. And I think part of the challenge of being a CrossFit brand is that CrossFit has done an incredibly good job of branding themselves for a certain kind of person, for you and I, right? And for lots of people probably listening to this. The challenge is that for gyms, they're not branding themselves for people like us. They have to figure out how to talk about the things that we love about CrossFit in a way that somebody who isn't like us hears it, sees it, feels it, and knows it's for them. That's the problem, is that a lot of gyms, I think, just think that, well, like, it worked for me when I said constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity. Why doesn't everybody understand why that's amazing? It's because we're different people. Because we responded to one thing. We responded to Fran. We responded to shirtless dudes and sports bras and loud music and sweat on the floor and 2-day seminars. Like, that's what we responded to. That's not normal.
That's so overwhelming for so many people because they're so far away from that step. They're so far away. And to me, I opened my gym to help people change their lives. Like, those are the most, I get goosebumps even thinking about the people that we've helped lose 100 pounds, 50 pounds, get off medications. And after COVID, I'll give you a quick example. We had someone, she hasn't done anything in over 5 years. She sent an email at like 9:00 at night saying, I drive by your gym And I saw the sign outside that says nutrition and fitness. It doesn't say CrossFit at all. And she said, I want to come in and talk to you. I'm scared though. I'm like, hey, we start off with personal training. I'd love to just sit down and talk to you and for you to meet me and let's just have a conversation. Signed up for nutrition and fitness. She did 15 minutes of her first workout and was done. And then we talked about nutrition the other 45 minutes. That's okay. But those people, I know her life is going to be so much better. And she even said after the first week, people at work are already telling me that my mood's changed and they can tell that I'm doing something different. Like, that's why we all deep down inside opened our gyms.
Totally. I think that Greg Glassman's right when he says we have an elegant solution to the world's most complicated problem. What I think we don't have yet is we have the most elegant explanation for why we have the most elegant solution to the most complicated problem. And I think that once we figure out that, which is basically what you just said, once we figure out how to do that better, once more gyms figure out how to do that better, that's going to be the unlock to whatever comes next. Because we've run out of people for whom constantly varied functional movements at high intensity is an attractive idea.
And you have to make the entry point less intimidating, which is why I truly believe an on-ramp program is so important. Like getting people on a one-on-one setting so that they realize you care and you're there to help them. And you have more time to sit down with them one-on-one, and providing them a solution to their problem has to incorporate nutrition if you're talking about that population, or they're not going to see the results that they're looking for.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that gyms can definitely do better is nurturing people into the business.
Yes.
And I think that it doesn't start in the gym. It doesn't have to start in the gym. And again, that's hard. That's like, okay, now that's a whole other thing I've got to figure out, but it shouldn't start in the gym, right? Like what you just said, the thing that popped into my head when you were saying that, and I think it's clearly not a necessary step, but one of the things if gyms are struggling with figuring this out is don't make people come to the gym for the first time. And obviously we're kind of living in this world of social distancing. And so this is kind of like whenever we get out of this, but I don't see any reason why a gym owner can't set up at the local Starbucks and have 3 appointments there. Don't come to the gym for the first time because that's too damn scary. Go meet me at the Starbucks at the corner of whatever and whatever. I'll be the one in the CrossFit shirt. We'll sit, we'll have some coffee. We'll talk about what we do. We'll talk about where we might be able to help you. That's it. That's so much a lower barrier to a yes than come into the gym. Because even when you say come into the gym, it's going to be a one-on-one. Doesn't matter. The environment is the scary part. The environment to most people is the scary part. I don't know if I belong there. Will I go in there and everybody's fit and they're going to look at me and I'm not fit? Are they going to see me and think, what the hell is she doing here? Those are the thoughts. Those are the fears that people who have never been into a CrossFit gym don't understand. Like they don't understand that this is a judgment-free zone because there's no other gym in the world that is a judgment-free zone. Every gym they've ever been in has been a judgment-heavy zone, right? It's just the fact of the matter that they don't know what you do. So you have to meet them at a place physically or emotionally at a place where you can get to them and they can hear you and they will listen to you. And sometimes that means don't come to the gym. This place, I get that this place is scary. I get that you don't know what we do here. Meet me. Once you meet me, you'll know that we're not scary. And that's every CrossFit gym owner that's every coach I've ever met. They might look intimidating. None of them are. You have to recognize that not literally how you look sometimes, but like the first reaction, the immediate reaction to you for a lot of people is where they stop. And so you've got to figure out, how do I tamper some of that first meeting, that first impression, so that they can hear me and they can hear what we do and they can hear how I can help them. Once you do that, really what we're talking about is you've built a little bit of trust. And if you build a little bit of trust, you can build on top of that by doing something else that earns a little bit more trust. So if you're a gym owner and you meet somebody, if you meet me and I'm overweight and I haven't been to the gym in 15 years, and you meet me for a cup of coffee and like I feel like we've connected a little bit and that's good. And then the next morning you send me an email that says, "Hey Pat, It was awesome to meet you. I really appreciate you coming out. I know it's hard to start on a journey like this. I really appreciate you trusting me at least enough to come to the Starbucks and talking. Here are the 4 things that I think we can do together in the next 3 months that can get you moving in the right direction. I'd love for you to come into the gym. No pressure, no workouts. I just want you to see the space. I want you to see what we do here. Let me know if you want to come in on Wednesday. Then, okay, I've trusted him. I trusted him enough at Starbucks. I felt good enough leaving him there. I trust him that this next step isn't as scary as it could be, or isn't as scary as I thought it might be. So yes, I'll go meet you on Wednesday. We'll come in. I'll see the place. I don't need to work out yet. Get them in there, get them meeting another coach, get them like, oh, hey, Sally, come over here. I want you to meet Pat. You guys live in the same neighborhood. Your kids go to the same school. Just want you guys to know each other. This place is full of people like me. Once you get somebody to see that this is a place where other people just like them exist and thrive and love and keep coming back to, then they're ready to sit down and say, I'd love for you to start our one-on-one program next week. Here's what it means. Here's what it costs, blah, 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 all this stuff. Because now they know that the fear they had at the very, very beginning, which is that I don't belong here and I can't do it, is not true anymore. Because they've seen it. They've seen it with their own eyes that fear isn't real. Yeah. And so some of them won't say yes to that still. But what you've done is you've created a little bit of tension in that person's mind. And the tension is the thing I thought was true isn't true. And now I have to make a decision about what I'm going to do in light of this new information. And that tension is what people need to make a decision. Without creating a little bit of tension, it's too easy to say, that's not for me. It's too easy to say that's scary. It's too easy to say it's too expensive. It's too easy to say I don't have time for it. It's too easy to say it's too far away from my house. Until you create the tension of this actually could be exactly what I'm looking for. And now I have to balance it against all of the excuses that I've been using up to now. Until that tension is created, you're not creating the environment, the emotional environment in that individual where they have to make a decision. And when you put somebody in a position where they have to make a decision, they start questioning, like, am I the type of person who knows that there's a right answer and I still don't take it? That's hard for a lot of people to say, no, you know what? I am the type of person who, if you give me the solution, I'm not going to take it.
It's all about building that relationship. At the end of the day, you're talking about building it's funny, you're talking about Starbucks, and I had a conversation with Pat Sherwood at HQ at one point, and that's exactly what he did to build his underserved population gym.
That's so cool.
In his garage. That's exactly what he did. I remember him talking to me about taking them to Starbucks and them just talking through nutrition and, what hurts on them and, just getting to know them for them.
Yep. And the reason why that works, part of the reason why that works, and I'll use Pat as an example, is because, and Pat is an example that I've seen 100, 200, 500 times within CrossFit, which is the people, yourself included, the people who do this are incredibly personable. They're incredibly charming. They're incredibly easy to connect with quickly. That is a superpower that most gym owners and most coaches have, because you have to have that to be a good coach. You have to have that to be a good gym owner. You have to be able to, in a very short time, connect with somebody over something such that they listen to you, such that they trust you a little bit more. It is a superpower that most people don't have. It's a superpower that not enough people are leaning into as it relates to how they're going to grow their business. The first thing is to get people to trust you. You have that skill. You just have to recognize that your job is to get people to trust you. Yeah. And how can I do that? How can I do that before I ask them for money? How can I do that before I ask them to come join a class? Because that's too big a leap for most people. How do I get them to sit down with me across a table for 20 minutes? Yeah. That's the answer. That's the secret.
Absolutely. I think a big part of the missing piece here is the branding goes with how can you get that how can they trust you enough to reach out? And are you putting video content out? Are you building that relationship with people? What kind of funnels do you have? What kind of email content do you have so that people can trust you? People can trust you and feel comfortable reaching out, right?
one of the most important things is what is on your website.
Yeah.
What are the images on your website? Does your website look like you built it in 1997 and hoped like hell you'd never have to touch it again? Have you figured out the right way to explain what you do without using jargon? Do you know what jargon is? Do you know how people who aren't you respond to the way that you talk about what you do? Have you made it damn dead simple to understand how you actually started this gym? All of these things begin because everybody, I don't care who it is, and I don't, if it's complete stranger, just moved to town, never doesn't know what CrossFit is, drove past your gym, or if it's like, Sally's cousin, Sally's like, you got to come to CrossFit XYZ. Every single person is going to your website first. And every single person is going there to echo what I said before. They're going there to ask themselves, is this a place where I belong? And if the first image on your website is you doing an overhead squat without a shirt on, then guess what? Sally does not think that this place is for her. And if you use the word constantly varied functional movements at high intensity, Sally does not think that this place is for her because one, she doesn't know what that means, and two, intensity is scary. So the website for me is always like the backbone of your brand, not because like it's the beginning and end and it's the only thing in your branding that matters, but because it's the only place where you can encapsulate quickly, succinctly everything that you stand for and everything that you're trying to do, and who it is you're looking to who you're existing to serve. Your website is the only place where all of that stuff should exist clearly, with clarity, and with a sense of what to do. What do I do next now that I know this?
That's a missing piece in most websites, right? They don't have a clear call to action. Like, what do you want people to do?
Yeah. A website needs to have a job. And I think that that's one thing that's missed is people just think they need a website because we live in 2020 and you're supposed to have a website, but your website needs to have a job. And you've got to figure out, what is the one job I want this website to do? Do I want the website to get people to sign up for an email list? Do I want to get people to come in for a one-on-one consult? Do I want people to just come and join the class? I don't know what the right and wrong answer is for any specific gym, but I do know that most gyms haven't figured out what the one job is. And then really what that is like, how far out in this journey do I want to go in terms of when am I going to ask somebody to sign something and give me money? The further out you can start that process, the better, but you've got to figure out where you want to start. It might just be setting up a 15-minute phone call or a 15-minute Zoom call or whatever. That might be totally fine. That might absolutely, or it might be, download this ebook for, 15 at-home workouts. I don't know what the right answer is because it entirely depends on what you're trying to do. I do know that the website needs a job, and I do know that the implied job shouldn't be, hey, come on in for group fitness,
If your website doesn't talk about nutrition, it is going to be very hard for people to understand you can help them with nutrition and not think that you're just selling them something.
That's something that I hadn't thought about, but that I learned from you when we talked. You're spot on. It's harder. You can't have a conversation 6 months, a year in that's going to feel like an upsell if you never at least laid the groundwork for what else you could do with them. They might not be interested in nutrition. They might not know what it is. They might think that if I just go to because a lot of people think I just need to work out more. It doesn't matter what I eat, right? But if you don't if you don't plant that seed as early and often as possible, they won't know that you're a person who they can go to when they're like, you know what? I've been coming to the gym for 3 months. I feel like I've been pretty consistent. I feel like I've made some progress, but I don't know if this is it. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Because then you can say, well, actually, have you thought about what you're doing with your nutrition? Because that is something we do here. And instead of it being like, oh, now I have to make a decision if I want to give them more money, it's like, oh, good. Yeah, no, I knew that. That's what I want to talk about.
You know what? I'm going to go back to something that you said at the very beginning, where we're all in this CrossFit box, and how do you differentiate yourself? And I would challenge you to think that maybe you differentiate yourself because you offer both. And that's why people seek you out, is because they want the total package and they want help with nutrition and fitness. And I can tell you from personal experience, that's why we get every member that comes through our doors. And gyms that are looking to add nutrition only clients, the more prevalent you make nutrition in your message, the easier it is for people to understand that you can help them with just nutrition, not nutrition and fitness.
Absolutely.
All the branding things.
All the branding things. And you guys, I mean, I haven't obviously done too deep a dive on what you guys are doing in HSN, but I've been very impressed with what you guys have put in place, just as it relates to branding and marketing and all this stuff. I think you specifically and you guys as a team are doing incredibly good things. So so kudos to you.
Thank you. But I would say that was the biggest missing piece, going back to like individual education. And I went through the StoryBrand Guide certification almost 2 years ago.
I can tell when I look at your website.
Well, it was because I'm like, we're not accurately able to describe exactly what I want our ideal clients to see. So how do I do that? And I was like, who's really good out there? Let me learn from them. And, I highly recommend the book, Building Your Story Brand, to every single person. I think it's a great way to understand.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, 100%. And they actually have gone on to do some more things. One is something called Business Made Simple, which I highly it's $250 for the year, and they're some of the best online courses that I've taken, period, but in this space as well. And then they also, his name's Donald Miller. He kind of started everything. He wrote a book just recently that's kind of related called Marketing Made Simple. And I think it's Marketing Made Simple. If you don't do anything else, go read that book. And then I would actually recommend two books, Marketing Made Simple, and then This is Marketing by Seth Godin. If you just read those two books on marketing and branding, you're going to be like 10 years ahead of everybody else who refuses to think about it.
Look at the free help that's available. You guys have some amazing free help that you put out, and like, there's no sense to reinvent the wheel here. That's one of the big things that we do at HSN Mentoring is give gyms all the marketing stuff so they don't have to spend time recreating it. But look at the free help that's available so you can just take what's working for everyone else and replicate it for your business, right? Ask for help, right? Like, you guys, again, doing an amazing job with helping gyms with branding. I appreciate all of your hard work. And
yeah, one of the things that I always say about leadership to a degree, or that I always say about leadership, but I think it's more than that, is that your job as a leader is not to have the right answers. Your job as a leader is to find the right answers, which simply means you don't have to have all the damn answers. You just need to be willing to go look for the answers and be willing to be open to ask the right questions, be open to the people who might know better than you about finances, about marketing, about branding, about whatever. And the funny thing is, it's like every gym owner knows this because that's who they are in the world of health and fitness. They're the person standing up and saying, you don't need to know about 400 things as it relates to fitness, nutrition, health, whatever. Just I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to help you. I just need you to take the first step and come to me. Right. And it's the same thing with, ourselves. Like I joke all the time that I think everybody who's married should be in marriage counseling, because like we don't have the distance to know what the right answers are. Like, we need outside perspective looking into us without emotions, without baggage, without context, and say, you know what, guys, you're having the same fight again, right? Or have you thought about looking at it this way instead of that way? And the truth is that when our businesses and our brands and our relationships and our own the voices in our own heads, we don't have enough distance from them always to look back at it and say, what is actually happening here?
Absolutely.
And so you can either get really, really good at asking yourself those questions, and it's something that we should all be doing. We should all be journaling. We should all be taking long walks. We should all be reading good books. Like, those are all part of the process, kind of back to that leg of the stool of self. But we should also be looking for people who can help us, people who know more about a certain thing than we do. And we should say, help me get better at this thing. Don't tell me. And this is where I think people run into trouble. I think it's a mistake to say, tell me what to do. Instead, tell me the right questions to ask. Show me how you would answer these questions. Point out to me where I'm not making sense because I don't see what I'm doing, or I don't see what I'm saying, or I don't see how I'm acting. And then let me take that, let me learn from that, and then let me go forward with that revelation in my mind. That's what a coach does. That's exactly what a coach does. A coach, I can't make you squat. I can help you squat better. Yep. That's it. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to do the squatting.
Absolutely.
And so I think the more places we can, and it's hard, and it goes back to that idea of reinvestment and being at a place where you're like, okay, we're safe now. Now's the time to dive back in. Part of that reinvestment should be, how can I get somebody to help me see what I'm not seeing? That's just it's an ego thing. A lot of people think that they're supposed to have all the answers. I promise you don't have all the answers. I promise you that nobody has all the answers. Your job is to not have the answers, but to find the answers. And other people have lots of answers. And I just think that once you put yourself out into the world, once you have that posture of, I'm not a leader that has all the answers, I'm okay with that. That opens you up to all sorts of good things. Especially, it opens you up to building a team around you that feels ownership over the thing you're all collectively building. And until you do that, you're never going to build anything bigger than yourself. Until people feel like not that they're on your journey, but you are together on a journey, you'll never transcend yourself.
I think that is the perfect way to wrap up this podcast. I couldn't agree with you more.
Amazing.
Thank you. For people who want more information or want some free help, I know you're coming out with a guide soon.
Yeah, I just published it. It's a free guide to. I've been creating content since I don't know, high school. So I kind of gave, again, in the same way I just said, like, I don't give you the answers of how to do it, but I give you all of the ways that I think about it, and hopefully the tools and strategies to allow you to create better content more effectively, more efficiently, and more consistently.
I love it. So we will link that page under this podcast. Patrick, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Nicole.
I appreciate all of your work in this space. You have such a unique perspective being around for so long, and I know we're all in this to help gym owners win so they can help more people, right?
100%.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Patrick had such a unique perspective. Taking time for yourself and bettering yourself, expanding your tools in your toolbox to help better your business is so important and most often overlooked. As a business owner, you can only wear so many hats in your business. One of the most valuable things I do quarterly is attend a one-day intensive meeting with my mentor and a group of high-level entrepreneurs. The goal of this is to escape the day-to-day business and focus on growing yourself so that you can better your company. I've been doing this for 2 years with Michael Hyatt in Nashville, and I look forward to going to Nashville, maybe for the country music too, but I look forward to going to these meetings to better myself. And this last one was held virtually. It was still amazing. The mentor meetings have inspired the layout for our virtual workshop. Every business running the HSN mentoring platform is able to claim one free ticket to this workshop. I am so excited about all of the information that is being delivered and know that you just have to get access to it. Tickets are also on sale to the public, and you can lock in your spot today and finally commit to making nutrition a bigger priority in your business. Head over to growyournutritionbusiness.com and lock in your spot for the virtual nutrition business workshop today.